So one of the people I want to bring up next is Sister Sarah Deeby, one of our founding sisters, and she's going to introduce our speaker this evening. Thank you.
And a big thank you to Erin for being the hostess with the mostest. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be able to do this. Whoops, I've already messed up. I've worked with a lot of families and children over the years and met wonderful parents. My hope is that the work that we do together will teach children or give children the skills that they need to navigate the world in which they live, their own real experience. Of course, I'm not always sure about the outcome of that hope. I do hope that it is that in most of those cases they have had that I have had some impact on their life. Occasionally, however, I do have the opportunity to work with a parent like Mary Tobin. Although I worked with her son many years ago, Mary has been so faithful over the years in giving me periodic updates. Once or twice a year, I receive an email from her with a note of her son's progress and his growth. Although I realize that there have been many influences in Michael's life over the years, I'm not the only one, I am very delighted that Mary allowed me the opportunity to enjoy the growth of her son and to share in her joy as a parent. Please help me to welcome Mary Tobin.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Erin, and thank you, Sister, for inviting me to be here this evening. I'm going to pull this out here. Can everybody hear me? Excellent. So I like to think in life that it is a series of inflection points. It's those everyday instances or those situations in which it makes a difference if we go left or right, or forward or backward. And some of those decisions can change our lives and change the lives of our family. And when our son was in 7th grade, we found ourselves face to face with one of those points. We had found that our happy and curious son, in a matter of months, became angry and anxious, was losing interest in school, was contrarian and argumentative. And he was our oldest son, and so we were really new to the whole thing of adolescent parenting. And we'd talk to teachers and we'd talk to friends. Is this a phase? Is it, something he's going to grow out of? And so we tried. We tried on our own for a number of months, and we saw the situation continue to degrade. And we were finding ourselves at loggerheads, and really the family dynamic was devolving into something that was constant confrontation. And we weren't willing to accept that as a family. That was not going to be the status quo for us. But we also know that we weren't making progress on our own and we needed help. So my husband, who is here and is my rock here on earth, and I neither had experience with mental or behavioral health in the past. But that did not deter us, because we really saw it as a path forward in terms of hope and in terms of an option for our son and for our family. And so, thankfully, our family was all in, including our son. And I'm really eternally grateful, because I know that it doesn't always happen that way. But it just did in our case, where everyone's minds and hearts were open to healing. And that's where Northwest Catholic Counseling Center came in to our lives. Our children were in a Catholic grade school at the time, and Sister Sarah had spoken at a PTO meeting. And I had heard it and processed and sort of put it away in my mind. And when we started to experience these problems, we had some other friends as well who had experience with NCC. And so they encouraged us to make the call, and we did. And as they say, the rest is history. I remember vividly our first meeting. Tim and I did not know what to expect. We were anxious, we were nervous, we were concerned, all of those feelings that you might imagine. And what we found was a community of hope and compassion. And our son found that too when it came time for his first meeting with Sister. What we found, and which is logical, is that there's no overnight or immediate fix, and that patience and perseverance are critical when it comes to mental health and progressing. We were committed, though, to working through our challenges. Sometimes it was 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, but NCC was with us every step of the way to really help us persevere. We learned so many skills that we continue to hone to this day: communication skills, tools, the ability to put ourselves in that other person's shoes. And our son really gained an understanding. He gained an understanding of the source of his anger, the source of the anxiety, and even more important, gained tools that he could use to really help himself. As important, he learned how to put things into a broader perspective, and that really was a tremendous help for him. I remember one session in which Sister Sarah was drawing an analogy for him into something that he was experiencing in his own life. And she said to him, "How would you feel if you had come to your parents and you were so proud of something and they immediately shut you down and thought you were a failure?" And he looked at Sister Sarah and he said, "My parents would never do that. They love and support me with everything that I do." And that was another inflection point for us. My heart really leapt, and it was one of those kind of breakthrough moments for us as a family. So we continued treatment, we continued to progress, and along came the time when we felt that it was ready and we were ready to graduate from that every other week therapy session. Over the years, our son would come in for what we would call tune-ups, and those would usually occur at the beginning of the school year or at a time of particular stress. And over the years, that worked really well for him and really enabled him to progress along that continuum. I, too, would reappear for Sister Sarah at times of strife in my own life, or just trying to make sense of a world sometimes that appears senseless around us. I'm going to fast forward you through high school for my son. We went from 7th grade and went through high school, and it does go fast. He graduated a few years ago from one of Portland's Catholic high schools with honors. He's at the University of Oregon today and is double majoring with a minor and is about to enter his junior year next year. So he's really, really thriving. But what I think is just as heartening for us is that he has become an advocate for mental health and mental health awareness. Last year, during National Mental Health Awareness Month, he penned a really personal blog post in which he talked about his journey. He talked about what he went through, and he talked about what counseling meant for him. And as important, he encouraged others to seek counseling as well when they were going through something. So that really made us extremely proud as parents, and was really one of those moments that we took stock. Tim and I have tried to be advocates as well, just in our own circle of friends and acquaintances when they were struggling and facing similar problems to us. I find that really kind of telling your story and bearing your own humanity can be a very powerful thing and really lead people to help and to make some choices and directions that work for them. We've kept in touch with Sister Sarah, and that's been a great joy for us as well, because although I'm not a teacher, I can imagine what it must be like as a teacher or a professional, mental health professional, to give and give and give, and often wonder sort of, what impact am I having? So it's been a joy and a delight for me to keep in touch with her over the years and let her know how much she's helped us and how Michael continues to progress. So we as a family are very fortunate. When we came to NCC, we had great insurance. We were blessed with the resources to meet co-pays. But as you've heard tonight, that it's not that way for many, many people. It's the challenge of access, as we've heard from Aaron here in Oregon, in terms of being last in the country. Even individuals who have insurance today, the copay might be very prohibitive in terms of cost. Or it might be underinsurance in the sense of not giving adequate coverage for long-term cognitive therapy. So that's why I'm here tonight, is to really just kind of share our story, to share the possibility of NCC to transform lives, and to really ask you to join me at this inflection point tonight and help me to join in with this community and answer the call, which I'm sure you all will. Thank you.